You know, yesterday, as of the filming of this, was Sophia's birthday. She's 9 years old, and she is still licking the shit out of my face all these years later. Isn't that nice? Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I'm bringing you my April book haul. And I promised last month that I was so certain that the month of April would be so much better for hauling books. Because we're in the middle of a pandemic. No bookstores are open. I don't like shopping for books online. That didn't really happen. There's a very good reason for that. Most of these I did not buy for myself. I participated in a couple of wishlist threads on Twitter. I ran one myself. Basically, you're like, hey, here's my wish list. Post yours below. I want to buy stuff for people. Sophia's crawling around. Will you stop it? So basically, yeah, I bought a ton of books for other people. And other people bought a ton of books for me, which was really, really awesome. It did throw off my smugness for how small my April haul was going to be, though. That's okay. I did buy a couple of books for myself. I'm looking at them right now. I bought 3 books for myself. I was sent 1 book by publishers, and I have about 16 wishlist books to show you guys. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started as per usual. I am super, super long-winded. I don't know when to shut up, so I'm going to try to keep this short, but there are no guarantees. So what I usually do is divide this into books that were sent to me by publishers and books that I bought for myself, and that's it. But I'm going to lump together all of the non-wishlist books because it's a very short stack, and then I will run through the books that I received from my wishlist. So first of all, I'm going to show you the one book that I received from publishers this month. This is the sequel to a book that I very much liked. I didn't love the first book, but I liked the first book. And I don't remember a goddamn thing that happened in that book. It's not been that long, maybe a year or so. But that's alright, I guess. This is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. Foundryside was the first book, which I liked. I much prefer his Divine Cities series. They're absolutely brilliant. They're so good if you haven't picked them up. But I would love to tell you what Foundryside is about, but I don't remember. I don't remember anything about it. So I'm hoping to reread Foundryside this month. Hopefully maybe with Ava from Books Ava After. Let me know if you're still interested. And yeah, we'll see. Hugely anticipated sequel for me. I don't remember anything. Nothing. I have been watching a ton of period dramas with my family as a way to kind of like hang out, supposedly, across our 3 households, and I decided that I would like to try to get back into some classics. So I love these editions. I picked up Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte and Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. These are the laser cut covers. They actually have to stay in their plastic because otherwise they'll tear off because it's literally like cut up. These are hugely famous books. I don't feel like I need to go into what they're about. These are the Seasons editions though, so they have also done Little Women, which I think is sold out. They're doing Alice in Wonderland and Persuasion and a couple of other things coming up in July. So I love these. I'm definitely going to collect the versions that I like, which is funny because I actually hate Wuthering Heights. I'm going to give it another try though. I love Pride and Prejudice. But yeah, these are so beautiful. I just kind of wanted to show them off. I'm hoping to reread both of these soon because I've actually read both of these books before. Again, love Pride and Prejudice, hated Wuthering Heights. I think that my expectations going into Wuthering Heights did not match up with what it was actually about. So now that I know, I'm going to give it another bash. And the last book that I have to show you from this particular section, we're going into wishlist stuff here soon, is King's Bane by Claire Legrand. This is the second in the Imperium trilogy, the first one being Furyborn, which I am reading right now and really enjoying. I'm just obsessed with these covers. I love these covers. I'm really hoping that I enjoy Furyborn, because otherwise I've got both of them in hardback. It's kind of a stupid thing for me to do. I don't really do this as much anymore, kind of buying sight unseen second and third books in trilogies, but I think I'm really gonna like this. I'm enjoying it so far. Basically, I haven't gotten far enough to really know, but basically my understanding is that there are 2 queens sort of separated by hundreds of years who both have some kind of influence over the future and what's going to happen. They're both very important figures. So I'm very curious about this. I heard about this from Reads with Rachel, who I think loves this, and someone else, possibly Ava from Books Ava After, I think read Furyborn recently, and so I was like, and I pulled it off the shelf and I ended up buying this one as well. So we will see how this goes. Okay, so I have recharged my camera battery and I've had dinner, so I am ready to show you all of the books that I received from my wish list this month. Thank you guys so much for sending stuff. It was really puzzling to the Amazon man who kept piling shit up in front of my door and kind of giving me this funny look, and it was really awesome for me. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. I am going to shout out everyone where I have, oh, this is a big stack, you can tell. I'm going to shout out everyone where I have notes. Some of them I don't have notes for, so if you see something that you sent and I don't give you a shout out, let me know, because there's a really good chance that it just didn't come with any kind of indication of who sent it. So these are going to be in no particular order, except for the first one, because I have already read it. I went ahead and cracked on and read it yesterday. It'll be the first thing that I read in May, and the rest I'll just kind of go through. I'll whiz through these really quickly. Descriptions will be, or links will be in the description down below, so if you want to check out the actual descriptions of these books, you can go ahead, but I'm going to do my best. So this very first one is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. This is the other one of his that I have read. This is basically, think a haunted house book set in a knockoff IKEA. It was really, really fun. I think that the most enjoyable aspect is the design, because it's the exact size and shape and look of an IKEA catalog. And as you go through, you get like bits like this, like instructions, and you have an order form, and every chapter starts with kind of a piece of furniture and a little description down below, and they get darker and darker as the book goes on, and it's really fun. I very much enjoyed this. I haven't settled on a rating yet, but it'll probably be like a 3.5 to 4 stars. I don't think that the story was necessarily the most unique thing, but it was really fun. I tore through this in a day, and it felt very much like a spoof. So if you're looking for something that's more of a spoof than like a proper horror novel, I would definitely recommend this, and it's just so much fun to have on the shelf. This one was sent to me by Dominic, so I'm gonna go ahead and link everyone's Twitter or BookTube channel or whatever down below where I can. Next up, I have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I'm so excited to read this book. I cannot wait. I've heard some mixed things, but I do think that it is going to be one that I enjoy. Basically, it's a villain romance, but it's not like, you know, a sort of soft villain romance. Apparently, like, the girl in this is bad. She's not a very nice person, and it sounds so much fun. It's basically about a girl who is going to seduce the king and kill him and take over his kingdom. She sounds like my kind of girl. So this was sent over to me by Audrey, who's actually a booktuber as well. I'll link her channel down below, and we are going to buddy read this when her copy comes in. I'm really looking forward to that. Then I received a copy of The Empress of Forever by Max Gladstone. Max Gladstone is one of the 2 authors who wrote This Is How You Lose the Time War, which you will see in this stack. It is a book that I really loved, like many people last year. I've been very curious about his standalone works, and this is his most recent one as far as I know. It is a space opera, and that's pretty much all I know. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anyone who has read it. I would love to hear if you have. I was meant to get a review copy of this last year, but the NetGalley link was broken, so that didn't happen. So this is my chance to finally read it, and this is from my friend Kirsty, who is a book blogger. Next, I have a sequel to a book I haven't read yet, but I know I am going to love based on the recommendation of so many people that I know. This is Venom by Bex Hogan. The very first book is Viper, and I've had Viper on my shelf for ages. I've been meaning to pick it up, but I knew that Venom was coming out soon, so I decided to wait, but I'm hoping to read these over the summer. I love Bex. She is a wonderful, wonderful, lovely person, and I'm so excited to read these. They're basically like high seas, piratey, YA fantasy, and it sounds like so much fun. So this is from my friend Lorraine. She said that this is going to tear out my heart, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited because all the reactions to this book have been like, Bex, what have you done to me? And I love it when authors rip out my heart and soul, so this is going to be amazing. Next up is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. This is one, as I said, I read last year and I loved. I read a digital copy of it though, and I've been desperate to get my hands on a physical copy of this novella. And it's just an amazing book. You've probably heard all about this. Like, this is a book that people have not been able to stop talking about. It is just so good. It's a sci-fi book about two soldiers on opposing sides of a time war who leave letters to each other to taunt each other, and they eventually fall in love. It's super weird, it's super wonderful, and it's just fantastic. So I've been so looking forward to having a physical copy of this, and I finally do, thanks to my friend Sally. So thank you very, very much. Next up is Blanca Iroha by Anna Marie McLemore. This is the author of Deep and Darkest Red, Dark and Deepest Red. It's one of the two. I can never keep it straight, which came out earlier this year and I hauled earlier this year. I've never read anything of hers, but Judith from Dead Good Book Reviews really enjoys her books. So I am actually borrowing her copy of this right now, and I decided it was time to put a actual copy of my own on my wish list. So this was sent over by Laura. And Laura is awesome because she also sent some catnip toys for the cats, and Dax has been losing her goddamn mind for days. She's been ripping them to shreds, and like her eyes are huge and she's been like rolling around on the floor absolutely loving them. So thank you for this, Laura, and also thank you for the entertainment. Next is another YA fantasy. This one has been hugely hyped for me, but I still somehow don't know a huge amount about it. I know it is an FF romance, and it is one that kind of took the YA world by storm last year. So this is Crier's War by Nina Varela. This came from my friend Monique from Bookwitch Reviews, who is an awesome booktuber, and I will link her channel down below. Next is one from my friend Donna, who is a UK book blogger. This is In the Nightwood by Dale Bailey. This looks like a really cool, creepy, kind of gothic-y historical fiction book. I thought it was a full-length novel. It is indeed a novella, and I am very curious about this one. This sounds like something that is more in line with what I wanted the Hazelwood to be. It deals with fairy tales and creepiness, and it just sounds so good and atmospheric. So thank you, Donna, so much for this. I am so excited to read this. Then we have Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young, who I think is the author of a really popular kind of earlier YA series that I don't know. But I have heard amazing things about this book. It sounds kind of like what I would have wanted Wilder Girls to be. And this was, I think, recommended by my friend Asha because that was what I wanted Wilder Girls to be. I know this was recommended because of some book that I read that I wanted to love more, and she was like, you'll like Girls with Sharp Sticks instead. So this is actually from my friend Moon, who is always incredibly generous with keeping me in books, and I'm very intrigued by this. I don't think I've heard of anyone on BookTube reading this book, but everyone that I know who has read it has loved it. The next is from Emily, who is another book blogger. This is The King of Crows by Libba Bray, the fourth book in the Diviner series. I've only read the first one, but I have all the rest of them now. I really enjoyed the first book. It wasn't my favorite thing that I've ever read, but it was so much fun. I had such a blast reading it, and I cannot wait to continue with the series because I hear it gets better and better. It's set in 1920s New York and deals with these people who have these kind of special abilities who are called diviners. The first one is very much kind of a serial killer murder mystery. I think the second one has to do with like a sleeping sickness that invades people's dreams. They just sound so incredibly cool, and I'm so desperate to continue on with the series, so thank you so much, Emily. Next is one that has no note, and I want to say thank you, so this is from you, please let me know. This is Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I loved her, I think it's the Christomanci books, when I was a kid. I don't know how many of them I've read because my friend had this like huge bind up of a bunch of them, and I read that, and I don't know how many were in that edition, but I hadn't read any of her other stuff until I picked this up when I was in New York, and I really enjoyed it. I was only familiar with the film. I didn't know that there was a book. When I found out there was one, I read it and I liked it. I think that it's gonna have a stronger kind of context for me now, knowing more about kind of the book and also living in the UK, because I feel like a lot of her books are super British. So I am very excited to read this and hopefully continue on with the series, which I didn't realize there was a series either. Then we have one that looks really creepy and really good. This is The Luminous Dead by Caitlyn Starling. This is, I believe, a space opera, and it involves lots of cave diving and like creepy shit in caves, which sounds awesome. I don't know a huge amount about this one, but I've heard good things. I don't think I've seen any real in-depth reviews, but I've heard good stuff. It sounds like something I'm gonna love, and it sounds like it kind of toes that line between sci-fi and horror, and of course I am trying to read a little bit more horror lately. So this is from my friend Cora, who is another UK book blogger and a really, really awesome person who I have met in real life. The next book is from my friend Amy. This is The Arm of the Sphinx by Josiah Bancroft. This is the second book in the Books of Babel series. I am reading the first one, Senlin Ascends, right now. So this is perfect timing. I'm about halfway through and I'm very, very curious about where this series is going to go. So I'm very, very thankful that I can dive right in afterwards. This next book is another YA fantasy that I'm very curious about. I've heard that it is just fantastic. This is Perfectly Preventable Deaths by Deirdre Sullivan. I don't know a huge amount about this one, but I believe it is very witchy, and I've heard it is so good. So this is from my friend Kelly, so a huge thanks to Kelly for sending me this. And a bit of a diversion from all of the fantasy that is on this list, I received a copy of Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. I am so pumped to read this. My whole family is obsessed with this series, and I've never actually read Wolf Hall. And now that the last book, the third book, is out, I want to go ahead and jump into this. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle. I think that it's not like weird, but it's not really what you'd expect from a historical fiction book. I remember starting it, oh god, like, I don't know, 5 years ago. No, more than that, like 8 years ago, and being really confused as to what was going on. But I feel like I am more of a mature reader now, and I feel like I can really sink my teeth into this. So this was sent to me by my friend Andrew, who is another UK blogger, so I want to say a huge thank you to him. And the very last book that I received from my wish list is The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Chris Riddell, two of my faves. I have been wanting to read this for so long. I loved Snow Glass Apples, which is a graphic novel retelling by Neil Gaiman. This is not a graphic novel, but it is heavily illustrated, and it's like a retelling of the classic tale of Sleeping Beauty. And I love Chris Riddell's drawings. He's such a wonderful artist. I'm really looking forward to this. I think Judith of Dead Good Book Reviews recently read this and really liked it, so it's even more reason for me to go ahead and pick it up. And this is from Catherine, so a huge thank you to Catherine. So that is my book haul for the month of April. I did fudge a little bit of these. A couple arrived, it's the 2nd of May now, a couple arrived yesterday and today, but I wanted to keep all the wishlist books together because that should be the end of all the wishlist stuff. I don't think there's anything else coming, which is probably not a bad thing for my TBR. But I wanted to keep everything together, so it is a little bit bigger than it should have been, but only by like 2 or 3 books, so it's fine. In the comments below, I would love to know if you have read any of these books, if they're in your TBR, or some of the stuff that you hauled in the month of April. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.